Sir Francis Drake High School lies between the hills of Marin County in a small but bustling town called San Anselmo. The school was built in the early 1950s, and since its start, the high school has managed to stay out of the paranormal spotlight. That is, until now. In early 2019, rumors began to spread on campus that Rich Blasowitz, the school's security guard, had been seen levitating, lifting students with his mind, and even eating insects like a reptilian humanoid. I made it my moral duty to investigate these claims, so I called up the best paranormal experts in the business to come examine the evidence, conduct interviews, and get to the bottom of this mysterious case. This is Nico Raphael, internationally known alien expert. This is Natalia Cervantes, his partner in crime. And I'm Callan O'Brien, paranormal investigator. And I almost forgot, this is Jamaica Lopez, our vampire expert. We wanted to get to the bottom of these rumors, so we talked to some students to hear their stories.
Alright, so I was just walking outside class one day trying to get a drink of water, and I saw this kid walking towards Saunders. I think he was trying to get to lunch early, and Rich just looked right at him, and he was coming out of class, and Rich just touched his temple, and the kid just like flew up in the air, and the spaceship just came, and the kid got sucked away, and I never saw him ever again. And that was freshman year, and I've tried to avoid Rich ever since. I haven't made eye contact with him once because I just don't want to get beamed up to a spaceship.
I'm not going to use the word levitation in this context. All I'm going to say is, who's to say that he doesn't float around with his feet kind of dragging against the ground like that, like an alien?
So yeah, it must have been last Monday. I saw Rich walking in the halls and saw him pick up a worm and pop it straight in his mouth, just like a reptile.
Joe's story was by far the most credible, so I decided to become an expert on the subject. I knew that if I wanted to know a lot about reptiles, I would have to interview one. I realized pretty quickly that Petco had strict policies about interviewing their reptiles, but I knew I could interview someone who owns one. So you own a reptile?
No. Well, I washed my friend's lizard.
Okay, how long ago was that?
About 4th or 5th grade.
Okay, so you know a little bit about what it's like to own a reptile. You know a little bit about them.
Yes, well, I know a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, have you noticed any reptilian traits in Rich, the security guard?
His nose, I think, is pretty prominent to me. It's scaly, it flakes often. If you guys want to know about, reptiles, you guys should talk to Obama. I've heard he's a reptile.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it would be tough to interview a former president of the United States, so I decided to interview someone who knows him pretty well. So you voted for Obama?
Yes, I did.
So you know him pretty well?
Well, I don't know him personally.
But you know a lot about him?
Well, of course. I teach U.S. history and economics.
Do you see any of Obama's reptilian traits in Rich?
Um,
Sal was a dead end. I was losing confidence about my reptile theory. I handed the investigation over to Jamaica in the hopes that she would make a better discovery.
I did some digging around in John's desk because I had a hunch that he had something to do with this. I found a couple clues that linked him to Rich, so I decided to interview him. John,
Jamaica,
what are you hiding, John?
I'm not really hiding anything.
Can I, please? Thank you. I found this in your drawer. Why is he X'd out, John?
I've never seen that before. That
I
wasn't
also
in my
found some
drawer.
garlic. Can you explain that?
Well, Jamaica, I'm not just a teacher. I'm a vampire hunter.
How long have you been a vampire hunter?
All my life. My family and I were raised in the woods and we had to fight vampires. I've become very skilled at it and very good at finding them.
Should we be defending ourselves from Rich?
I can neither confirm nor deny anything about Rich. He is possibly a suspect, but
What does that mean?
I'm sorry, Jamaica, this interview is over.
Because John cut me off, I couldn't investigate any further, so I had to move on and let Natalia and Nico continue with their investigation.
With Jamaica's research coming to a dead end, I figured it was time for Natalia and I to start thinking. If Rich wasn't reptilian or a vampire, then what could he be? In 2 previous interviews, Drake students Bridger Murray and Jake Walsh both described their extraterrestrial encounters with Rich. And being the alien expert I am, I decided to start digging. The first person I went to was Ryan Shaw, school-renowned security guard known for his outstanding work in the field.
When I first got hired at Drake, Rich trained me. Right off the bat, I noticed that he had some sort of cosmic aura radiating from him. As he continued to train me, he kept giving me these subtle hints that maybe he was a little extraterrestrial. I mean, who watches E.T. every night before bed? Doesn't that seem a little out of this world?
It sure did seem a little out of this world. After the interview, Ryan told us that English teacher Greg Doherty could possibly have some insight on the situation. I asked him to have a little chat and find out what he really knew. So, Mr. Doherty, we were told you may have some evidence or some insights about our school security guard Rich possibly being an alien.
I believe I do have information in which you might be interested. 6 years ago, while I was asleep in my bed, a bright beam of light paralyzed me and lifted me through my window and into the sky. It was very painful and I blacked out. When I woke sometime later, I was in some kind of alien spacecraft, surrounded by beings with blurry faces and weird voices. Experiments were performed on me which I am reluctant to detail. However, I will say that months later, when I was back at work, after some time off, I heard a deep voice say,
"Tom Brady, another Super Bowl."
And something triggered me, like one of those hypnosis words. And I remembered that one of those beings, the leader, was Rich, our security guard. I think that's how they found me in the first place.
Wow. And you're 100% sure that the face you saw was Rich?
Well, I can't say I actually saw any faces or heard any clear voices, but the feeling is 100% certain.
Wow. That's some really critical evidence for our case. Thank you so much, Mr. Doherty.
You're welcome.
Although Mr. Doherty was reluctant to go into detail about the various experiments performed on him, this was the most groundbreaking information we had. It was time to let Natalia take over the alien investigation, to see what she could bring to the table.
The alien theory was really coming together. there was only one more person for us to interview, the boss of the school and longtime best friend of Rich. No, not Chad Stewart or Liz Seabury. I'm talking about Lena. And what she said shocked me.
I worked with Rich for over 20 years, and I love to work with him. And I can tell you with absolutely certainty that Rich is higher power. An alien, a reptile, a vampire. I don't know. But he really is something greater than mankind itself.
With all this evidence, we finally had to confront the man himself. It was time for us to learn the truth about Rich.
I sent my team to go find Rich handing out passes in the office. He agreed to the interview, and it was time to pop the big question.
All right, Rich. We know your secrets. It's time to come clean.
All right, fine. Come with me.
How long have you been a vampire hunter?
All my life. I was raised